What's up, guys? It's me, it's that ERIC. I am the People's co-host, Eric Barnes, and this is The Late Debate. I am, as always, being joined by the extreme icon, Mike Nagel.
Yes, you are. And it is a glorious day to be doing this.
It's really fucking glorious. And also by the Thunder Thief himself, Mr. Entertainment, Noah Donish.
I am the N to the O to the A to the H. What's up, everyone?
Is that why you were laughing? Were you trying to think of how to play off the ERIC thing?
I totally was. I was trying to steal your thunder.
Of course, that's what you do.
Because that's how I am. I'm just such
Niz kid.
No, you're the people's co-host on my show. I guess that makes me the people's bitch. But you know something? For this show only, I'm going to try to steal your thunder. I'm going to do the best I can to do that because, you know, I'm a dick like that. And, yeah. By the way, if you haven't done so, check out my YouTube channel. We're about to break some records. I need another 6,000 views.
Shut up.
To break some records.
Can you not wait till the end to do plugs?
You know, plugs are my specialty.
Especially the
I'm gonna
butt
plug it.
variety.
Yeah, when they're going up your ass. Anyway, so sorry if you're a new viewer. Sorry if you're a new viewer.
What?
Noah
because this is probably the first thing some people
Get to the topic already!
Anyway, so if you have something you think you'd like to hear us talk about, leave it down in the comments below, and we pick one, at least one, every week. So this week is from Vernon Kazimos. He asked, what if Bret Hart agreed to the original finish to his match against Shawn Michaels? Obviously talking about Survivor Series 97. Would there be a DX, a Mr. McMahon character, Attitude Era, etc., without the Montreal Screwjob? So thanks, Vernon.
Great question. That's an awesome
That is a good question. Well, let's just take it part by part here. So the first part was, would there be a DX? And DX was already DX leading up to that.
But would they have evolved into being like this, almost like the way the NWO blew up into a full-fledged, like it wasn't just a tag team, it became a stable with like half the roster. DX never got that big, obviously, but there were quite a few players that were coming in and out of DX. Would it have gotten that big without all this other shit going on?
Well, I mean, you got to think DX basically was in the same formation from its inception until WrestleMania 14, save for Rick Rude.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, Shawn Michaels was going to have to retire, so it was either going to go away or change anyway. And since Shawn Michaels was the biggest part of the Montreal Screwjob, I don't really see how that would affect the future of DX. What do you think, Mike?
I don't know. You know, I could see that the Mr. McMahon character may have taken a little bit longer to come through, because if Steve Austin was always the plan, you know, with the whole attitude and everything, I think we still would have seen the Mr. McMahon character, but I don't think it would have got a shot in the arm like it did with the whole screw job. So that, in my opinion, sped everything up.
Yeah. I mean, Vince was already kind of being a sort of a dick, you know what I mean? Or like somebody that everybody enjoyed seeing get hit with a stunner. But what really created...
And don't forget, Vince was being kind of portrayed as kind of a heel as far back as like 96. Remember the promo when and granted he was kind of playing a heel also. Remember the heel Jim Ross promo where he was talking about how Mr. McMahon fired his ass over the belt?
How many times are you going to sneak that in when we're doing a video show together?
You're killing me, Mike. It's a valid fact though. That was back in what, 96 he did that promo?
They fired my ass.
Let me tell you how warm-hearted Mr. McMahon was. I'm paraphrasing now. Mr. McMahon took me into his office and he fired my ass.
All right then, that was such a terrific impression.
Are you done?
Anyway, Mr. McMahon was technically the character. Mr. McMahon was created whenever he spoke the famous words, "Bret screwed Bret." Agreed.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so
Honestly, I'll take it a step
so
I'll take it a step further back. I think the Mr. McMahon character was created the moment the spit hit Vince's face.
well, I guess so, but this was what maybe a week. I don't think that the interview was the next night on Raw. I don't think. I don't know. It's hard to remember, even though I did watch that era recently. But obviously, it was instigated to go further from
Yeah.
the Bret Hart thing. That's whenever he became a very focal point and not
Yeah.
just like an interviewer type dude that got
Yes,
stunned once in a
sir.
while.
And I mean, the other thing was as well. I don't know if anybody's brought it up yet. The Screwjob kind of was a big part in WWE turning the tide against WCW.
True. Because I mean, that people are still talking about it today. Not just shows like us.
People
but,
are still wondering if Bret was in on it.
Do you think that he was?
I don't know.
No, he wasn't. There's no fucking way he was in on it. There was too much stuff going on for Bret to be. I mean, the whole thing is it would have come out by now that it was a work because there were too many people.
You don't know that.
There were too many people that witnessed the altercation between him and Vince.
Well, Vince is willing to put his body on the line if it means making money.
Good point.
But how would that have? Well, I mean, what? Well, I guess it would have ended up being good for both of them.
Here's the deal. Vince is racking his brain trying to think, what is going to help us turn the tide against WCW? Well, if you look at Eric Bischoff's book and the title of it, Controversy Creates Cash, and it certainly did that. So what if Vince came up with this whole screw job idea? Bret gets to leave the company because they can't afford to pay him right now while business is bad. He goes to WCW, makes $3 million a year by not doing anything, and it's a win-win for everybody.
I think Bret's pride, though.
What fucking pride? His father was a promoter.
Yeah, but Bret is such. I hate to say it, but Bret Hart's an asshole. And
no, he isn't.
And the thing is he made a lot of money in wrestling prior to WCW.
No, he did not.
He made a lot of money.
He did. Didn't you watch?
But it was nowhere close to what he was making once.
Yeah, but he had money. He had money to a certain degree.
It, okay? Bret would rather win matches than make money.
I'm sure he was doing all right considering he was a 5-time WWF champion.
Well, yeah, he was doing all right. He wasn't making.
But I wasn't saying he was. But obviously not that WCW money.
Scott Hall was saying that Bret Hart cared more about winning than making money. Okay, so he was like making $400,000 a year as WWF champion. Come on, that's not world champion money.
That's true. I mean, that can't compare to what Hogan was probably making.
Hogan definitely was making over $1 million a year.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And in those years, that was like a shit ton of money.
Yeah, I feel like Bret. He has such a big ego, and he wants to always look, and he wanted to always look good, particularly in Canada. I just don't see him going along with the work.
Well, what was Bret afraid of? You know what I mean? Of losing.
It was because Shawn said he wouldn't put him over.
And plus, Vince would not have really wanted to go along with Bret going to the competition and disparaging the WWF to the extent he did. He disparaged the WWF on WCW programming. He disparaged the WWF to the press. There was so much.
Hey, smart guy. What happens when you talk so much about one certain product?
Well, yeah, it gets eyes on it, but it's all negative publicity.
There's no such thing as bad publicity. Seriously.
Two words. Owen Hart.
Yeah, and Bret didn't really seriously go off on Vince as bad as anybody thought he would.
I kind of wonder why did Vince decide to make what if he had let Bret have his way and Bret had held the belt one more day? I think Vince was just terrified that he was going to take it and show up on WCW programming with the title.
Under Blaze.
Yeah, and it'd be Medusa all over again. I mean, that's got to be terrifying. And I mean, if you watch what's the documentary the Wrestling with Shadows, like why is Bret not immediately on Nitro? Why is he sitting at home watching Raw, watching a midget Bret Hart come down the entrance ramp with DX?
Because
you know what I'm
Eric
saying?
Bischoff was terrible with Bret Hart.
Well, yeah, plus what's-his-name showed up on Nitro the same night he was on a pre-tape Raw.
Right, Rick Rude, but it's like, I understand that, but why would they not immediately want to cash in, have Bret come out, tell what's up, his side of the story?
Was there a no-compete period, like a no-compete clause?
No, Bischoff waited to bring him in because they were launching Thunder, and they wanted him to be the main guy on Thunder.
Gotcha. Just the same way they had Luger on. Wasn't Luger on the first Nitro?
I don't. Yeah, but then on
As
top
like a big
of it,
surprise.
they waited 6 months and brought Bret in to be the special enforcer with Hogan and Sting. They had him do all these ridiculous heel and face turns like within weeks of each other, and it was just utter stupidity. So
Yeah, they really, honestly, they dropped the ball very hard with Bret in WCW, because just letting him cut promos and say what he actually felt, I feel like we could probably, at this point, go back and watch those, and it would have been akin to fucking CM Punk pipe bomb, but probably more aggressive.
Bret Hart's run in WCW was I'd say a 4 out of 10 at best.
Well played,
you are such a dick.
I see what you did there.
I do have a valid question for you, though, Eric. Do we think, and of course Bret seems like the proud kind of guy that would never come out and admit it, do we feel that Bret thinks that he should have probably stayed with the WWF?
It wasn't up to him.
He could have restructured his deal.
Vince offered him a deal, he accepted, and then Vince came back to him and said, well, we can't pay you that kind of money because...
Well, he could have restructured it for less if he really was loyal.
Vince was basically pushing Bret out, you know what I mean? Because he didn't want to pay Bret what Bret thought that he deserved at that point.
And he was saying that Bret didn't fit in with the whole Attitude Era either.
Yeah, I don't think that Vince would have had much for Bret Hart.
True.
And if Bret wasn't going to be on top, why would he want to be there?
Yeah,
you know,
what are they going to do? Stick Bret into a love triangle with Sable or something?
Bret never would have gone for anything
something
like that.
He would never have gone along
Sunny,
with.
though.
Hey-o. But yeah, so like last thing was like the Attitude Era. If Bret had gone along with getting pen or losing to Shawn at Survivor Series, how would the Attitude Era still have been the same? Would it have been rocketed into the stratosphere like it was?
Maybe not as
things have been
fast.
different?
I think it would have happened though because they were already aiming for that edgier direction with the whole Austin 316 says I just whooped your ass. DX was already doing some edgy stuff while Bret was still around. I think it still would have happened, maybe not as quickly as it did. Maybe it would have delayed it by 6 months to a year. But it's one of those things where we never will know the truth. Like, we'll never know what could have been.
That's why we have the great debate, or the late debate, I'm sorry.
It's true. How many licks in the center of a Tootsie Pop,
3.
I got a shirt that asked that same question the other day, so maybe we'll never know.
The world will never know.
The world will never know.
1, 2, 3.
So what do you think, Mike? What about the Attitude Era? What would have happened?
Yes.
Okay. How would it have been different?
It would have been a slower build, though, and I don't think they would have got that immediate heat. And then, at that time, they were getting their asses kicked by WCW.
Mm-hmm.
So
it got them some ratings for sure quickly, which they needed.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, if it didn't happen then, chances are, the slow build, they may not have been able to come out of the ring with WCW whooping their ass.
Right on.
Right on, right on.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, you guys good?
I'm
all right.
Fantastic.
All right. You all right. All right. So, thanks, Vernon. And like I said again, comment, questions. We'll choose one, and then we'll talk about it. And you'll feel cool because we chose your question.
Yes.
Maybe not. Anyway, so plugs. Mike, what do you got, buddy?
You can follow me on YouTube at FTWNage. You can follow me on the Twitter at UltimoNagel, and something called Instagram at XMVNagel, and not the Facebook, or you will be spam material. Thank you.
What about your JDate profile?
I don't give that out to these people.
All right, Noah, what do you got, buddy?
Follow me on Twitter at NoahDodge, like my official Facebook fan page. It's facebook.com/official Noahmania. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/Noahmania. Lots of great stuff going up. Love you all. I love
you want to hype whatever the hell you were talking about at the first of the show?
So we're possibly going to break a record this month. So my best month traffic-wise was like 48,000 views. That was August of last year. Well, we might be able to break that record this month. It's going to be a lot of hard work, but it's possible. We got to have some strong videos over the next 5 days. I believe August is a 31-day month.
Are you included in them?
Oh, snap. Snap, crackle, and pop.
Hey-o.
But so I'll ask of you guys, this isn't an e-bag. This is just share the videos out, share the love on social media. Check it out. There's lots of great stuff going up.
Noah will be taking donations starting the 1st of next month when he does the record.
I'll do a PBS pledge drive. How about that?
With free tote bags.
Exactly. No, the tote bags you have to pay shipping and handling.
Oh, fuck that.
So.
All right. Anyway, guys, subscribe to my channel as well. It's youtube.com/ebarsays. Follow me on Twitter at ebarsays. And
don't piss him off, otherwise you will be put in the lockbox, and Eric will never want to speak to you again. Just
it's
saying.
true. That will happen. All right. We'll see you guys next week.